Hey man, so today I'm going to teach you something that is probably one of my favorite things to teach. I don't teach it very often in person, but I do believe that I would say that it's probably one of the most important technique type things that I've learned how to do, and that is how to get a girl's phone number without risking tons of rejection when you do it. So there's a technique to this, just like there's a technique to probably most things. And just like most things I teach, there's actually a very strong and very complex psychological backing to support why this works. I'm going to go over a couple of those psychological concepts as I go through this, but ultimately just watch, pay attention, try it out on your own, and use it as best you can. So first, I think that what most guys do wrong whenever they try to get the number is they ask for the number. The reason why this is a problem is because we, as humans, essentially will do whatever is easiest in general. And that is exactly true for attracting women as well. So let's say that you are out at a bar and you ask a woman, would you like to go on a date with me? Well, for her, she's going to be thinking, okay, well, I could risk that this would be a bad date, which it's very likely because she doesn't know you very well yet at all. And if she shows up for the date, she'd be stuck there in that spot with you for several hours, and it would be a waste of her time, and it would be frustrating and possibly creepy and maybe even unsafe. So there's a lot of risk involved in that. So she's got that on that side. Then maybe she's attracted to you, so that's the only positive side of this. Well, even if she is attracted to you, she's probably going to say no. And the reason why she's going to say no is because it's too risky. It's too hard to do that. It's a lot easier to say no and avoid all that risk altogether. So what you want to do is you want to make it easier for her to say yes than it is for her to say no. Because, of course, if you make it easier for her to say yes, she'll do it. If you make it easier for her to say no, then she'll do that. So what most guys do is they make it easy for women to say no. They say, can I have your number? Or do you mind if I get your number? Or even you should give me your number. That's still it's too much pressure on her to make that decision of whether or not it's a good idea. Because the downside, the risk to her, is that she's going to get a call from you every single day until you finally find a way. She finally finds a way to block your number, and that can be really hard for her. It could also mean that you get freaked out and jealous, or you sort of text her every 10 minutes, or maybe that you never call her or never text her at all, and she's doing this for no reason. But probably worse than anything is the fear that you're going to be bragging to your friends that you got a telephone number and that you're just manipulating her. So I'm going to show you a way that I use to get telephone numbers from women that I just met, and it's a way that sort of bypasses all of these fears and sort of speaks directly to the calm, comfortable, emotional brain that makes women feel very comfortable and very okay with giving out the telephone number. Now, I'm going to go through the movements with you. Instead of saying, like here, can I have your number, right? Which is what most guys do. They sort of hand out the telephone. Instead of just handing it out and saying, can I have your number, you're going to do exactly what I teach you now. You're going to, as you're talking, so as I'm talking to you right now, I pull my phone out. So I'm going to kind of go from the beginning. Let's imagine that I'm having this conversation with a woman here. Imagine that maybe you are a woman. and we're talking about whatever, right? We're just having a normal conversation. We're in the middle of like flirting and being silly. And as we're talking, I'm pulling out my telephone. Now, I'm not really looking at my phone. I'm just glancing down every once in a while. And I'm still talking to you as I'm doing this. And this is very, very crucial. So I'm actually getting my phone ready to get your telephone number, but you wouldn't know that because I'm just sitting here talking to you with my phone in my hand. So immediately when you take your phone out, she's going to look down at your phone and wonder what's going on. But instead of handing her your phone automatically, iPhones are kind of crazy because there's all these things you got to do in order to get to the right spot. You got to slide the slider, hit the button, find the keypad, and then you got to type in your number. Then it's like, what do you do then, right? You don't want her to have any kind of a hard time figuring this thing out. Blackberries are kind of complex too, so you want to make this as easy as possible. You want to unlock it while you're talking, which is what I just did just now. And then I'm going to hand it to her. Now this is the important part. I'm going to hand it to her, and I'm going to stick my arm almost all the way out. I'm going to put it about this far away, right here, from her. So I'm going to go slowly. I'm not going to jab it at her, otherwise she'll back up. So I'm going to go pretty slowly, and I'm going to hand it and put it right in what's called her psychological space. Her psychological space is going to be the space around her body that she considers to be her personal space. I'm going to put it right in her personal space, but I'm not going to lean in. I'm going to stand up straight. I'm going to hand it right, just like this. I'm not going to say, give me your number, or I want your number, or anything yet. I'm just handing her something. Now, there's something called an autopilot response. So autopilot response is that we have a series of, let's say, tapes, right? These recordings that we have in our head of actions that we do whenever we see a certain thing. Now, lots of different animals have these same actions that they do. They're survival mechanisms, and we have these things so that we don't have to think about what we're doing all the time, because that's a massive headache, and we need to be able to just process things very quickly at certain times. So this is one of those things. When someone sticks out their hand like this, what do you want to do? You want to reach out your hand and shake their hand. Or if someone hands you something, that's a motion, just like an autopilot response. You know, the tape hits play. You know, the recording plays, and what do? Your body automatically moves out to take it, right? Now we're going to use this to our advantage, and the way that we're going to use that to our advantage is we're going to put the phone there so that she takes the phone, and she's going to take it from you, and she's going to be wondering in her head what this is all about, right? But because you're talking to her and you're having a normal conversation as you're doing this, and you're not drawing too much attention to the phone besides, you know, you're looking at it or handing it to her. You're not talking about the phone yet. She's going to take the phone and wonder what's going on. So she'll take it and she'll hold it. As soon as she's got the phone in her hand, then and only then are you going to deliver what you really want to deliver, the thing you want to say. And that is, and I'm quoting you here, I'm quoting this here, so remember to say it similar or exactly like this. You want to say, why don't you go ahead and put your number in my phone? Or your number in there, whichever one you want to do. So why don't you go ahead and put your number in my phone? Now, this is crucial. I've tested this 100 different ways, and I've tried can you put your number in my phone? Will you put your number in my phone? Will you give me your number? Why don't you give me your number? All these things, and the best thing I've found that gives the best response from women is, why don't you put your number in my phone? Now, the reason why is because it's easier for her to put her number in your phone than it is for her to come up with a good reason why she shouldn't, right? Will you put your number in my phone? It's easier to come up with a good reason why she shouldn't that way, and so she'll do it. She'll tell you, will you put your number in my phone? No, I can't. Okay, well, that's easy to say. No, I can't. Or no, I don't want to. Or, oh, no, that's okay, right? Or I don't give my number out. But why don't you put your number in my phone will force her to have to think of a reason why she wouldn't want to do it. And because we take the path of least resistance, she's going to put her number in your phone. Now, one thing that's crucial, when you hand her your phone and she takes it and you say, why don't you go ahead and put your number in my phone, you have to, what I like to do just to kind of push it over the psychological edge there so that she feels even more comfortable, is I give her a reason why I want her to put her number in my phone. There's a study where they had a bunch of people standing in front of a copy machine, and someone ran up who was working with, the psychologist, who was one of the people, doing the study, and they'd run up with a bunch of papers in a big hurry, and they'd say, can I skip you in line? Now, they had a success rate of maybe about 10% when they said, can I skip you in line, and that's it. But if they said, can I skip you in line because I'm in a big hurry? The success rate jumped to around 40% of people who said, yeah, go ahead, yeah, sure. 40 to 60, that's actually low. But then they said, they thought it was really interesting. So they took off the reason, and they just said because afterwards. So they tried this as well. They said, well, they ran up in line. They said, okay, can I skip you in line because? They didn't say anything. And that word because caused everyone to feel comfortable enough to say sure. So the numbers went drastically up again just because they said the word because. So what I like to do is say, why don't you go ahead and put your number in my phone, and I'll text you when we get to the next place that we're going to. And that's it. It's in the middle of a conversation. It's not the very end. It's not like she's about to leave. This isn't a desperate act. You're doing this in the middle of the conversation. You hand it to her, and then she takes it. You say, why don't you go ahead and put your number in my phone, and I'll text you whenever we get to the next place to let you know where we're going. And then she'll go, okay. She'll put it in, call her right there, and let it ring, and just say, hey, I'm calling you. Let it ring. It'll ring in her phone. She'll get your number. If you can, I would take her phone and go, oh, let me see, I'll put my name in, and put your name in and put, your name, and then put after it, super sexy guy that I'm totally attracted to, or something totally silly, Put it in, then save it, and go, okay, there you go, and hand it back, and don't tell her. And then later when you text her, your name will come up, and it'll say, your name, super sexy guy or whatever, something really silly, and she'll laugh whenever she gets it. So she'll be compelled to respond back. Now, this is really important. Most guys will get the number, and then they won't do anything with it, or when they do something with it, they won't be able to get a response back. So you want to make sure you are playful, very playful, and then after that, for the next 5 minutes, stay there and talk to her. Make sure that you build some kind of rapport, some kind of a connection. Have a real conversation with her over the next 5 minutes. Because if you do that, she will answer your call whenever you call her. She'll respond to your text and she'll answer. If you don't, she will have buyer's remorse for giving you her number, and she will not text you or call you back.